Alright, boys. I'm going to be talking about something that you probably don't give a flying fuck about, but if you're in the midst of it, you probably care a lot about it. I'm talking about mental health. Alright? I don't care if this video doesn't get a lot of views in comparison to the other ones that talk about something more interesting, but I think it's really important that I make this video because when I was younger, I didn't have really great mental health. Life just felt really challenging at one point, and I think all of us go through it, but we just normalize it to ourselves and tell ourselves, "Wait, that's life." But life can be challenging, life can be difficult, life can be tough to solve. I faced that when I was younger. I used to deal with a lot of anxiety when it comes to doing things that were new to me because, my brain had just accustomed itself into thinking new equals to dangerous, dangerous equals to we shouldn't do it. And it just fell into this repetitive comfort loop in order to keep me safe that I developed a little bit of anxiety. I used to be really anxious talking to people because I didn't know how they were going to judge me. I used to be anxious to do things that perhaps would make me happy because I didn't think I deserved it at that point. And this had been going on for a bunch of years, and obviously I didn't pay much heed to it. I just thought, okay, this is life. I didn't even term it anxiety because I thought it would make me weak. I didn't really diagnose or tell myself, okay, this is exactly what I'm dealing with in life. It's just, this is life. Let's just keep going. And I did that for years when I was a teenager. Did that work for me? No. When I was 16, one night made me change my perspective on everything. I was just going out with a bunch of friends where we were just going out to a pub, I think, at that point. And yeah, we we had pre-drinks at their place. Obviously, I don't drink, but I was there for the pre-drinks. And following that, we were all getting ready to go to a pub, and after that, potentially go to a club right after. And yeah, something was just pulling me away from this social environment because, well, I was meeting new people. I was going with a group of people, group of friends, but I was going in meeting a larger group of people, and I didn't really have the best self-image at this point. So I had already started to feel this like pull telling me to walk away from this place because it's dangerous, because there's people there, and you don't know how people are going to judge you, you don't know how you're going to fit in, who are you going to talk to. All of these questions were just exploding in my head, but I quieted it all down, thinking that it was completely normal, that it's okay to think this way because it's just normal, right? Everyone thinks that way. We walked over, um, we went to the pre-drinks place, we went to the pub, and spent a good little while there. Met some new people, everything was going fine, and towards the very end, I could visibly see that everyone around me was completely hammered and drunk, and I couldn't really find my friends. The only people I can see were people that I had just met at that party, and I wasn't really familiar with them. So I just listened to this pull, this voice in my head telling me that I needed to head back home right now. And I did. I started walking back home, and on my way back, I could sense that somebody was following me at this point. So here I am walking through this dark alley. It was not necessarily an alley. It was just a dark spot within a park, but then the lights and everything like that weren't turned on, and there was like one light like a long distance away. So I'm walking through this park because, well, Google Maps tells me that it's my way back home because I didn't really know where I was at that point. So I'm walking back, and I could, when you get that like sensation within you where you can tell that someone's following behind you, that there's like gut feeling. I felt that, and I looked over my shoulder and I could see that there were two guys in hoodies following me, but they were way back. But I could see that they were walking towards me because I could just feel it, right? So I start brisk walking. I start like walking a little bit faster, and before I know it, I look around and they start jogging. They start like about to jog. And bear in mind, I'm the only one at this park. No one else is there behind me. So as I'm walking out, as I'm running out, because I realized that they were jogging, I started speeding up and I literally came across a gate and almost felt like I was going to be trapped in there. But then I somehow managed to climb the gate. I still don't know how to this day, but I managed to climb the gate and I jumped out and I just started bolting. I started bolting to like a different street where I could see like a few people that were inside this this I think it was like a chicken shop, like a chicken joint, like a burger joint basically. So there were a bunch of people in there. So I walk in there, stay there for a few minutes because I have a feeling that people are still following me, and I'm panicked. I'm breathing really heavy. I'm trying to hold myself together, but it's just not happening. And I look at my phone and I see that now I've got no data. I've got no Wi-Fi. I've got no way of accessing Google Maps. I'm completely lost in a different part of the city. I don't know where I'm at. And I start panicking. I start asking people around me, hey, do you know the directions to get to this place? And none of them seem to either. So that was really confusing for me. So I thought, you know what? The best I can do is just walk outside and see what happens. So I walked out, and there was a really friendly and homeless man that was just right there, and he told me that the way to get to the place that I want to go to is just go uphill. So I don't know how true that was going to be, but I thought I'd follow it. And as I'm walking back uphill, I could just feel this pain sharp within my heart, within my chest. I could feel myself breathing heavy. I could feel myself feeling anxious, and this has never happened before. But by that point, I was trying to grab onto things just to hold on to. I was trying to grab onto. I think I ended up grabbing onto like a fire extinguisher, or like a sorry, not extinguisher, fire hydrant. I think I grabbed onto like a fire hydrant on the side of the street, and I just held it, and I collapsed. I didn't know what was happening. I was really young. I was confused. Okay, so what? Yeah, I was in danger. I understand that, but like, this is something new to me because I'm unable to comprehend what's going on. I'm unable to breathe. I'm unable to just get my thoughts together. I'm unable to find my way back home. And that lasted for about 5 minutes, where I was just holding a fire hydrant and I was anxious. And I was just stuck there. Eventually, maybe 30 minutes later, 40 minutes later, I find my way back home and I walk in to my room. I sit down on my bed and I'm just sat there thinking, what just happened? What made me become so hopeless? What caused that? Surely it couldn't have just been the danger that I was experiencing, because that it just felt larger and grander than that, but in a bad way, because it's what just happened. I tried getting my thoughts together, but just wasn't able to do so. And I decided to try and speak to people about it, but to no avail. People didn't understand what I was going through, nor did they realize the extent of what I was dealing with. That's where I started this one habit that changed my mental health forever. That's the habit of journaling. You see, years later now, as I'm more mature, I have developed an understanding of how our brain works and how I work, per se. I've realized that our brains are like computers. Our brains are capable of doing certain tasks and processing thoughts, emotions, feelings, whatever it may be, but it is just a machine. It's a computer. A computer has storage where it stores important things. If a computer has too much trash, too much garbage within its storage, that will affect its processing. Similarly, when we have a lot of repressed issues, repressed memories, problems that we're dealing with that we put on the back end of our brain, for a long while, it affects our processing, it affects our thinking. Journaling works as a method to clean our brain. It's a method of decluttering the brain space so that you can now use it more efficiently for things that actually matter to you in life. At that point, after that happened, I grabbed a piece of paper and I wrote down exactly what happened to me. I wrote down exactly how I was feeling. I looked it up online, I tried figuring out what happened to me, and I realized that it was a panic attack. I won't lie to you, at that point in time, I thought panic attacks were for pussies. Anxiety was for pussies. Depression doesn't exist. It's a lie. We're making everything up. Because I was so focused into being the masculine man that society would like me to be, that I forgot about everything else, that I disregarded them. But here's the thing. I wrote it down on a piece of paper, I looked it up, found out it was anxiety, and I didn't judge myself for it. I wrote it down, and then I reread everything that I wrote down in order to get a third person's perspective about it. And I came to this realization that was facing anxiety and that I had undergone a panic attack at this point, but that it was probably not just because of the danger that I'd experienced immediately. It was also about all the issues and all the emotions and all the challenges that I've put into my brain and left it there for years to rot. That all blew up in one night. Since that point in time, I've been journaling regularly, and I've got to tell you, you do not need to journal with a sense of purpose all the time. That's a form of advanced journaling that I'll perhaps dive into in another video, but just grab a piece of paper and write down the first thought that comes to your brain, and write down what's bothering you. Then reread it back from a third person's perspective, and there you will find solutions. There you will find ways to deal with said problem. This is the number one habit that fixed my mental health. So yeah, grab a piece of paper today, start journaling, because believe me, it'll be of use. That's it from me. Take care.